Let's move on to what's happening with domestic politics, Senator. Obviously, as Senator from Texas, you're watching this presidential race unfold with Rick Perry getting into the race. Now we're finding out that perhaps more concern or maybe even animosity between Karl Rove and other top Bush loyalists. And a division between him and them, and then, of course, Rick Perry. A big piece today by Matt Latimer. And is that in the Weekly Standard, Raymond? Or it's Matt Latimer in the L.A. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's in Yahoo News is publishing it, in the Daily Beast, excuse me, about this. And I'm a little concerned when one or two individuals seem to be, I don't know, almost bullying other people out of the race. Is that what's happening?
Oh, I think it's, the national media is now just finally paying attention to Governor Perry and what's happening in Texas. I mean, we're all part of the same family, and, of course, you're going to have some differences among family members, but there's no question that we're all united in our effort to make sure that President Obama is limited to a single term. And whether that person who gets a nomination is Rick Perry or Mitt Romney or Michelle
Senator,
Bachmann or somebody else.
But Senator, come on. You're talking to me here, okay? Now, he and his operatives seem to have something close to a war room against Perry, scrutinizing his every statement in an attempt to cut his young candidacy short. After Rove called Perry unpresidential, former Bush Press Secretary Tony Fratto joined in, calling Perry, you guessed it, unpresidential. Would that be something you would call Rick Perry?
No, I'm not going to. I wouldn't, because I'm frankly not going to get involved in this intramural fight in a primary. As you know, I'm focused primarily on trying to get the Republican majority back in the U.S. Senate. But the point is, we're going to have these primary fights, and they're going to be kind of messy, but they're part of our process by which people choose their leaders. And so,
So you'd admit, though, Senator, though, that it is a fight.
Yeah, it's a skirmish. It's it's something that the national media is focused on, but it's a small thing in the end. The real goal is to limit President Obama to a single term.
Well, what do you think about Perry?
Well, I like Rick Perry, and I think he's got a successful story to tell. And Texas has done better than the rest of the country, and it's not by accident. It's because
you don't sound enthused, Senator. You don't sound enthused. I'm just hearing you. You just sound. You say, "Well, I like Rick Perry. We've had a pretty good." I mean, it's your state. Your state's humming. I mean, he's the governor of the state. You don't sound very excited about him.
He's entitled to some credit, but not alone. There are other people who have been very instrumental in directing our state in the proper direction. George W. Bush, the Texas legislature, all of our elected leadership here. But the governor's entitled to a lot of credit, and he's going to be a contender in this primary.
Okay, so you're not the biggest fan of Perry. I mean, that's just. I mean, this is why I love you. This is why I love you, though. You're so gracious. The Senator Cornyn is just a gracious individual, and he's so diplomatic. Which, frankly, I'm not very diplomatic. This is why I'd never be good at what you do, Senator. Because I just go, oh, come on. I mean, go ahead.
I wouldn't be good at what you do. So.
Senator, Obama is going off on his vacation now to Martha's Vineyard, and he's going to the Blue Heron Farm. I'm sure you all in Texas you're into places like the Blue Heron Farm in Chilmark, Massachusetts. But apparently Mitt Romney's going to go into Martha's Vineyard for a little fundraiser, just for a day. He's going to dip in and out. Is that going to be an awkward moment with both of them on the island at the same time?
Oh, I think it'll be a lot of fun. The National Press Corps are all going to be at Martha's Vineyard. Maybe they can cover both of them at the same time. But, it's a big country outside of Martha's Vineyard and outside of the Northeast. And I think this is, this is the part of the heartland of the country in Texas and elsewhere that the president is frankly out of touch with. So I wish he'd spent a little bit more time, not on his Darth Vader bus, in Illinois, but, in Texas and other parts around the country to get back in touch with the people, because he's clearly living in a bubble and listening to people who are ideologically aligned with him and not paying attention to people that have better ideas about how to get America back to work.
This ExxonMobil story gets more and more interesting by the day. They're fighting with the government, and obviously Texas ties to the oil and gas industry, and oil and gas is always the kind of big oil, big gas. They're always demonized by the Obama administration. So now one of the big oil discoveries by ExxonMobil is being threatened because the U.S. government's in a big fight about how this thing will all go down. And it's like a big duel between the U.S. government and this huge oil find. What can you tell us about this, and how are job creation related to this issue?
Well, the Obama administration seems to want to be in denial, or is in denial, that 85% of our energy resources come from hydrocarbons. And thank goodness, thanks to modern drilling technology, we've discovered a lot of new natural gas in deposits all around the country. But rather than to make it easier to create jobs and to produce energy here at home, they seem to want to make it harder. And, he's ordered the EPA, for example, to do this new study on fracking. This has been a procedure that's been around for 60 years and has been regulated quite well by local and state regulatory authorities. But the president just seems to be clueless when it comes to what our national interests demand in terms of jobs and domestic energy production, and making it harder rather than easier to produce energy here at home.
These are incredibly well-paying jobs. These jobs support entire communities, and obviously it's a vibrant part of the economy of not just Texas, but all the Gulf Coast states. So we have a situation where Exxon could have very well found one of its biggest oil reserves ever, yet not be able to tap into it.
Well, we've seen that in the Gulf of Mexico, where even after the moratorium has been lifted, there's in essence been a permitorium denying access to about 30% of the oil reserves in America, and it just doesn't make any sense. We're all for alternative forms of energy, and over the next 10 or 20 years, we hope these will be more promising and develop more energy production. But right now, we need to use what God gave us right here at home, rather than depend on unstable regions of the world and with these skyrocketing prices. So it just doesn't make any sense. But this is an area where we could put a lot of Americans back to work. This would be a great jobs program in the energy sector right here.
Maybe that'll be part of his plan that he's announcing next month. I've made a mistake on all this. No, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not holding my breath. Senator, before we let you go, would you like to see someone else jump into this presidential race on the GOP side? Anyone else strike your fancy?
Well, I like a lot of the names that have been mentioned: Chris Christie, Paul Ryan. I just think this is where the debate is being had. The president is apparently living in this bubble with his advisors and not really aware of what's going on in the country. But I think the Republican primary is where that debate is going on, and where we'll select the strongest candidate we can nominate.
Have you talked to Paul? Have you talked to Paul about trying to get him into this race?
I've not. I tried to get him to run for the Senate, actually, not president, but he's one of our stars. He'd be great.